Alright, well, they may have delivered an "it's so over" to Reflux players, but the devs also dropped a triumphant, resounding "we are so back" for SBLAST mains. The new kit is Burst Bomb, Booyah Bomb, which are both fantastic. This weapon is about to go from rarely played, from Chara himself, its biggest proponent in the West on launch, deciding he'd overhyped it, to being a pretty common sight in competitive play. We will probably not see the Reef Slider kit again in competitive play until major balance changes happen. Let's talk about why this works so well. First of all, Burst Bomb is a great fit for blasters for a number of reasons. Blasters are pretty ink hungry and slow to paint for themselves. Burst Bomb takes up less of the ink tank than most other sub-weapons, and paints your feet for you quickly and in a decently wide radius. It's great for survivability. Burst Bomb also has some potential damage combos, though mostly just with directs unless the opponent is already damaged. It is technically possible to hit a 35 damage indirect of a Burst Bomb and combo that with an indirect from the SBLAST, but the indirect from the SBLAST is going to be so close to hitting them, and it has to be like at the perfect range. I doubt it's actually the kind of thing that's going to happen on purpose most of the time. Still, firing 2 blaster indirects is slower than 1 blaster indirect followed by a Burst Bomb direct. Given that the SBLAST's AoE burst on the long-range shot is really small and probably won't be super useful for hitting people over ledges, the idea to lob the Burst Bomb and its splash damage can help make up for that lack of utility at a range where the jump shots won't reach. The Burst Bomb also just gives the weapon a longer-range source of chip damage than it's had before. Now, Booyah Bomb is just generally a better special for pretty much any weapon in the game to have than Reef Slider, and it's especially nice to have another source of them, given how few kits have been given what is, in my opinion, one of the more exciting and also better designed specials in the game. It's really powerful for scattering the enemy team and isolating them into favorable fights for your team, an initiation special that can actually help start committed fights in a game where staying back and special spamming can often become the default strategy. But Booyah also helps this particular weapon with what FLC has called continuation after it gets a splat. SBLAST is a Slayer weapon. It's going to be looking for chances to splat opponents, sometimes in riskier positions. At top level, if you get a splat in neutral, chances are pretty high that 2 things are true. 1, you've taken at least some damage, since top players have very fast reflexes and very good aim, and were probably firing back even if you caught them off guard. 2, the opposing team has other players that are rapidly closing in on your location to try and trade you back. If you have to just turn and fight those players, you're pretty likely to lose. But if you can just pop a Booyah Bomb and suddenly have way more health than usual while also being able to chuck a nuke that scatters the enemy team, you can take that splat you got and snowball it into an even better advantage state for the rest of your team. Yes, at top level, players are going to have the awareness and reactions to shred Booyah Bombs, but just as the enemy team will be moving to your location rapidly, so will your teammates. And if they come upon an opposing player standing and looking up in the air shooting the Booyah user, that could just be another splat for your team. The odds are more in your favor than not. It does also have its downsides, of course, which is why you don't see many people complaining about it. It takes a long time from when it's activated before the projectile can actually be thrown. It's not a get-out-of-jail-free card for bad positioning, even if the armor holds up, because a lot of the time you can just drop a bomb on the landing point, and unless the player wastes their special throwing it at their feet, they're going to get hit. It's also important to remember that SBLAST isn't going to paint for Booyah very quickly. Remember, it's a blaster. It's one of the worst painting weapon classes in the game. It's going to run out of shots pretty quickly, and on top of that, it'll also go down a lot due to its aggressive playstyle and lackluster defensive mobility. So what charge it does get is more likely to be wasted. But that would be an issue with any special the weapon got, so the fact that it has something that will synergize whenever it does actually have it charged is still great. Start warming up that blaster aim, folks. It's a great kit, and fans of the main weapon are going to want to buy in.